We were like doing a deal for this, and that was around the time Toby's like, "Hey, I want to sign you. Like, let's like."
Let's do this for real now,
like
because...
you can work out of the house, out of this like crazy studio house in Hollywood Hills, or in the hills, you know, and it's actually in the Studio City Hills, and you know, just like I want to do a pub deal with you, and then we can do sessions together too, because like I'll have some of your publishing. So,
so when he said that, were you just like, yes, where do I sign immediately?
No, I was like, because the idea of signing a pub deal is, you know, it's a big deal, because that can take a long time. You know, that can represent a very long time in your career. Huge
commitment, yeah.
It's a big commitment, and so I definitely had some reservations about just the idea of signing a pub deal before I had any like legitimate cuts, because I knew like I wouldn't have a lot of leverage to negotiate like a good advance. And
did you have friends that had pub deals at that point, or how did you know to be leery of that?
I've known plenty of people who've had pub deals and were unhappy in them, you know, totally. And because of a lot of reasons. You sign and then like your point person leaves and you're kind of stuck and you don't have anybody looking out for you, which happens all the time.
Yeah, you're really signing to a person when you sign a pub deal. And when that person leaves, it's very hard to get other people as excited as that first person was about your stuff, because they have other people they've signed, and those are their people's priorities or whatever. So.
Yeah.
So you were in LA for like 6 months or something? 4 months, maybe 4 or 5 months. Yeah, it was quick. Yeah,
very dramatically quick ascension. Yeah, but like, you know, my manager Josh helped walk me through it, and the other important thing was making sure that I would have a carve out in my agreement to still be able to do like composer work and commercial pitching and things like that, and that like Atlas would be minimally involved with any of that stuff, or like not really.
Were you still working with the BOD crew with that stuff?
At that point, no. Well, the commercial pitching is mostly through Heavy Duty, and the BOD stuff is more like pop pitching.
Okay.
But yeah, so I ended up going for the deal because of the opportunity of being able to work with Toby regularly, and being able to work out of the space and have my own studio, which was huge. Like, and I think just having this space alone has presented a lot of opportunities for me, because people just kind of want to work here.
Totally. So, well, the view is amazing. And the space is great. Like, you have natural light, which is amazing. You've got a bunch of dope gear in here, which is always nice. And it's like, it's enough room
for like 3 or 4 people to like be comfortable. And you know, it's fine. I'm going to be relocating to a new spot in the house that's bigger. It won't have the view, which is unfortunate, but it'll have direct access to outside. So that's kind of cool. You can just walk outside and chill. So yeah, so I signed the deal and then just kind of got plugged into the session world, and just, you know, at the beginning I was really shaky and really like, because I come from more or less like the world of bedroom producing and feeling more comfortable by myself working on stuff. So to be like suddenly sitting in a room with people who've written like big songs and like be expected to just kind of write and do stuff on the fly, it was like it took a while to feel comfortable doing that.
What did you feel pressure the most on? Was it more speed stuff, or was it more sound quality stuff, or was it you were just used to working a week on a song and now you had a couple hours, or what was the...
It was more about like being creative in the moment, like in front of people.
Right, like always being in like an inspired mood.
Yeah, and not being like overly self-conscious, which I naturally am, you know, and kind of getting over like being shy in a room, you know, because you're in a room. A lot of successful writers tend to be pretty like open and like they're comfortable with expressing their ideas like on the fly, and like you kind of have to
instantly open up.
Yeah,
it's tough to do.
It's tough to do, and so there's just like a lot of insecurity around like my ability of like playing keys on the spot, or like coming up with cool chord progressions, or having sounds like, so there. It just felt like a lot of pressure for the first year or so, and but through those experiences, I became better at producing on the fly. And now it's like I almost enjoy producing in the room with people more than when I'm by myself, because there's like something about the energy there with the other people and like hearing their like live responses to what you're doing.
Yeah, there's a feedback mechanism that is very useful, and once you get used to that, it becomes just as tricky to kind of transition out and commit to things yourself.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. And another part of it, like being comfortable sucking in front of people is like not easy to do because I was used to being able to suck in private and
right. And
then,
you show
like,
people the best
you show
parts,
people the finished thing and it's good. But now it's like, oh, I'm in a room with somebody I barely know and they're gonna see that I'm actually not very good at playing keys and I'm gonna play a lot of bad notes and I'm gonna like maybe have some really crap ideas before we get to something good.
Right.
But like that's normal, I think, and
totally
being comfortable with that idea that like, oh yeah, this is gonna suck a little bit, but like I'm sure the fact that we're all in this room together, it means that we have faith that it's not going to suck by the end.
Totally.
So it's cool.
We're going to stick with it enough to get it out of the mud and up to the...
exactly. So I mean, I still have moments of like nervousness or like anxiety, so especially before like bigger sessions and where you feel like, oh no, like what if I don't have a good idea, or like what if like they don't like this idea that I prepared, and then
right.
It can be anxiety inducing, but
you end up preparing a lot before sessions. Is that a standard? Like, what's your standard session preparation thing?
Less and less these days. I used to like try to prepare like full ideas and beats and stuff, and now it's like if I have a few sounds that are cool and like some,
you just kind of trust that.
Yeah,
something will come out of this because I'm excited about this sound,
right?
And I'll find something in the room that's cool.
Exactly, and like people tend to respond better when you're doing it live in front of them, which is
then if you hit spacebar.
Yeah, if you just here's my loop, like do you want to write to it? It's more inspiring. There's something about the energy of you playing live chords in front of the person and changing them as they react, or like even if it's the same loop that you had, just I think them watching you play it.
There's something more visceral about that.
Yeah,
it feels more inclusive.
It feels more inclusive, and it tends to, I think, get people a little more like open about singing out their ideas.
Totally.
Also,
I think we kind of have to lead the way with that as producers.
Yeah, as producers, we like set the vibe, and we sort of set like the tone of how things are going to go. I've also noticed like for some writers and top liners, it can help get them out of their heads, because if you're just pressing play and like staring at them, seeing something, you know?
Oh, totally.
Versus like, oh, I'm doing something too. Like I'm like playing music, so like part of my attention isn't like on you, so you can feel more free to kind of sing and freestyle and do what you're comfortable with.
Right. Like I'm in my little creative zone, and I'm like reacting to things, but I'm not like just like
it's not like here's
giving
the loop,
you the cold like 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
Like waiting for you to do the cool thing to make the song happen.
Although there are plenty of writers who enjoy that too and just want to get on the mic right away and like have the loop there and just kill it on that tip.
I think that's a fun way to work sometimes, if for no reason to just change it up, but building like a quick loop and then having them just kind of sing something over it, and then they sit down and work out some lyrics while you kind of like build up the track more. That can be a really functional way to work.
Totally. I like doing that too.
And everyone has different workflows, and I think one of the reasons that it's so fun to be a producer working with other people all the time is like one day it's this guy that likes to jump on the mic, and one day it's this girl that wants to really like craft out the concept first and feel all the lyrics before anything gets laid down at all. And like, there's just a variation to it that is very like exciting.
Some people who just want to like write to the piano or like write to the guitar for most of the session too, which I personally like that less and less, because I enjoy being able to just get as much production done in the room at the moment as possible.
Yes.
Rather than like, cool, we have a song, now I have to spend another day like producing it.
And also for me, I feel really overwhelmed when now I have to make all these decisions with no one else in the room. Like for the song that we all made together.
Right.
It feels like that feels to me like a little too much control, or I don't know. There's something just more comfortable about, we all made this today. Like I'm working on this stuff and like getting it to a pretty listenable place by the end of the day. And like, it feels pretty done production wise. And we've got great vocals on there. Like when you can send out that thing at, whatever time in the evening, it really just feels like, okay, we had a complete day. We got this thing done and we have this to show for it. And there's just something really like ties it all up about that.
It's a lot more gratifying to me to be in that situation too. And also
100%.
Just to not have that dauntingness of like, oh God, I have to like figure out how to produce this song backwards, because it's starting out as a song already, and now I have to make the production work around the song.
Right.
And I find it more enjoyable when the song is sort of like the song and the production are done together. Oh, totally. And the song's kind of written around the production in a way, or like they vibe well out the get-go, because then it just works. And there are times when like I have to go back and reproduce something around another song, and that can take so much longer for me.
Totally.
Because it's just like you're like reverse engineering something in a way.
There are some times where like it's nice to be sent songs to have the option of reproducing, because sometimes I'll hear something that's like on a really minimal thing or just an acoustic or whatever, and I love the song. I'll be like, oh, I have a vision for this, and like let me go, because I like know where this is going. But that's not like every song, and when you have the pressure of that happening in any particular instance, I feel like it's really tough. But there are times where it just clicks in a way where you're like, oh, just give me the files for this immediately, because I've got the vision.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
I find it to be the exception. And then I'll usually get stumped at some point. And
oh, totally.
And then it's like, oh God, like how do I make this work? But
there's always that unforeseen wall.
Yeah, it's a fun challenge too. But I just find things go easier and more smoothly when like I have a big hand in like the sound of the production right before the song is even started. You know, and just like here are the sounds.
Totally.
Let's write around this vibe, and then like, oh, cool. Like by the end of the day, like it's practically done.
Yeah,
you know?
And you know that you're excited about it already, and like that's so much of the battle is just doing something that you're excited about. Because when we're doing it all the time, you know, we build up rules for ourselves or patterns or whatever, and so breaking out of those and finding something exciting is important, just as a place of starting and having confidence it's going to be something exciting.
Yeah, and then working with people that share the same excitement for the same kind of things that excite you is super important, I think.
Totally.
Because like, I don't know, like there's nothing more uncomfortable to me than like being in a room in a session where I just feel like my ideas of what is good or like what I like aren't necessarily the same as the other person's, and you know, maybe neither of us are going to end up happy at the end of the day. So like finding your like crew of collaborators who are down to kind of like take the same risks that you like to take, and
totally
are down to kind of like, oh, this is weird. I haven't like heard something quite like this, but I'm going to like write to it anyway. And then it's going to like hopefully turn out really cool. Those are like the kind of people that I try to work with more, you know?
Totally. The ones that are kind of willing to take some similar risks and,
yeah, or just have faith that like, yeah, this might be like a little weird. Like I try to make things like more on the like left, you know, like left of left, if possible, like alty, and you know, I've been channeling a lot of 90s vibes lately, and I think some writers might hear that and just be like, oh, this doesn't sound like anything right now, like I don't know who we could pitch this to, like let's not do it, or like maybe like this isn't good. But some writers are like extra excited by it because of that same fact.
Because it's new and it's fresh, or even if it's a callback to something old, it's doing it in a new way. It's kind of nostalgic, or it's not just another thing that you would expect to be written in 2019.
Yeah, like it's not fun to me to just try to make a radio pop track, you know, like
totally.
What would this like top 10 artist want to write to or like want to record, and like doing it from that intention to me is just like not very stimulating. You know, I want to try to make things that just feel like they're progressive and like a little more forward thinking and just a little different than what's like out at the moment, but
surprising.
Yeah, something surprising and a little like more unexpected, and not to overuse the word fresh, but like freshness is important.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. All right, everyone. Thanks for checking out the episode. Be sure to check out the show notes for music by this week's guest and more info on the things we talked about. If you enjoyed the podcast, please tell your friends, leave us a review, or subscribe on the Bandcamp page. That's makingrecords.bandcamp.com. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.